desert of the real.
Welcome back, everybody. My name's Tom Surrey. This is your news. Sorry about the initial difficulty getting on StreamYards. As I'm having a few connection problems, so don't know what that's all about. Also, we need some new intros and stuff, don't we? But yeah, so I do apologise about that, and we will work on that another time. Now, just before I start, so just a disclaimer: I've had. Oh, hang on a minute. StreamYard's just gone down. My internet's just gone down. You may lose me any second. Shit. Actually, no. I think we're connected by the data on this one. I'm so sorry, everyone. Just please give me a second. See what the hell's going on. Oh, great. Oh, I hate this when this stuff happens at the beginning. Just threw me out. Okay, right. That should be okay. Let's refresh. Right, this should do it. And then I just want to bring up the YouTube page for us because StreamYard filters a lot of your comments, and we could do without that. So it's gonna do that now, and then we should be where we need to be. So I do apologise again. Not the best of starts, but there we go. There's the video now. Right. Okay. So remember to go to top chat. To live chat. It always defaults to top chat. If you look at the top of your PC on the chat window, you'll see top chat, and you'll see it on your phone as well. And when you leave the site and come back, it will then even if you put it on normal chat, it will go back to top chat and send to the results. So just so you know, because it's a real pain in the ass. Hey Busker, hey Bolton, hey everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. So like I said, listen, I've talked about transgender issues before, so it's not a new thing for me. At the same time, this podcast today wasn't planned. I haven't spent a long time preparing for it, so it's going to come out bit by bit, maybe a little bit messy, maybe I'll need to edit it down, or maybe I won't have that much to say, because I feel like I've covered a lot of it. But one of the hardest things about doing what we do is the repetition. It's like if you're a politician or you're a say boxing promoter, one thing you must do is repeat, 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 repeat. And it's no different with a lot of things that we're doing. So you try and find new and interesting ways of presenting it, but that's something for me. I don't know about other people. That's the one. The hardest part about it is having to sort of try, keep repeating things because you never know you're talking to a new audience. You never know, Anyway, so I've talked about transgender issues, and what we need to understand here is I've made the analogy before, and I want to come back to this analogy because I think it's important about the left and the way that they think. I've said to you before that the left are, again, I think a lot of them come into this with a good intention, but what they will do is they will act completely on feelings to the point where, I know, again, I've made this analogy before many times. They will jump in the middle of the road to save a mouse and cause a 10-car pileup, and rather than acknowledge the 10-car pileup and realize that maybe there was a hard choice that had to be made as opposed to a wrong choice, they will say, but I've saved the mouse. And that's very much what we have going on in society now. It's like we don't know scientifically if even entertaining someone's potential delusions about who they think they are and what they want to be, we don't know how dangerous that is. We do know that the suicide rate, as I've mentioned before, in the transgender community is about 40%, 10 times higher than men who are massively high. Um, this is before and after op, by the way. It doesn't change those statistics. So whatever it is that many people are looking for in those ops, they obviously don't find, or it's not enough, because the suicide rate stays, 40%. I mean, you're talking nearly 50-50. Do you know what I mean? So it's very important to remember all of this. And then the fact that we've covered it before, that they're giving children, or what I would call children, 3 appointments where they're not exactly discouraging them, and they're going away, they're getting sex changes, and now there's charities being set up because they regret doing it, because they feel like they weren't given proper advice, they feel like they weren't warned about what could happen. So now there's a charity to back that up, which I've covered before. What I've tried to avoid covering, not tried to avoid, I just wasn't ready to cover, was sport and where it stands with sport, because it's actually complicated in some ways, and in other ways it's almost too simple to really even have the conversation. So how do I start this? So I've been a fight fan for years. My dad was amateur boxer, and um, my friend was into MMA pretty much back in the Valley Judo days, and um, so I've been up close with it. And I'm no expert, but I'm a pretty well educated fan. Let's call it. Let's say it like that. And I have seen. Uh, I've been watching mixed martial arts now and boxing for, well, actually, as long as I have a memory of mixed martial arts, since the 90s. So, um, and I'm getting somewhere with this. So, so let's just focus on mixed martial arts. What I haven't seen in mixed martial arts very often is a really bad injury. Now, I remember there was someone called Corey Anderson, I think it was, and he was quite an older guy. And I remember they got him into the big leagues, but he hadn't trained it his whole life. He had a natural ability at it, but he hadn't trained it his whole life. And he tried to land a leg kick on someone, and they blocked the leg kick, and his leg just snapped in half. It just wasn't dense enough, and it just snapped in half. That was a bad injury. Same thing happened with a guy called Anderson Silva, and if you don't know who that is, then you probably don't like MMA. He was blocked, checked. He was checked, which basically means you move your knee and your leg into position to stop the damage from a kick. And he tried to throw a kick, and the other person angled their knee perfectly, and his leg snapped in half. These are the worst injuries I've seen. Now, I know of person, one person in the whole history of it, and this is important that I'm telling you this. I know one person in the whole history of it, one guy who has had something happen to their skull. So there was one guy who took a flying knee to the face, and the x-rays were frightening because all the front of his skull was smashed. I mean, you could see cracks between all the bones. It was smashed. And they had to kind of reconstruct. Fortunately, everything was still in the sort of same place, so it could at least heal. That person got away, but I think they even still fight. But it was a pretty bad injury that hadn't really been seen before. And the reason I'm telling you that and giving you the context of that is because one person has managed to break two. Right. So this has also only ever happened in the men's division, by the way. The female division is getting stronger. The female competitors are getting stronger. But it's not happened in the women's division. And then the UFC, we'll come back to in a minute as to why. But in organizations outside the UFC, of which there are plenty, hopefully you can still hear me, because I can see we've lost the picture. There is a fighter which I'll bring up in a second. I'm gonna have to get this picture back, aren't I? I'll do it in a second. Can you hear me still? Can you hear me still, Babs? If you can still hear me, so this fighter, I'll unfreeze it in a second. This fighter, um, basically has broken two women's skulls in very, very recent times. So let me see if I can. I'll just drop out this a second, and I'll be right back. It seems we really are having our tech issues today. Let's try dropping the green screen and see if that helps. Right, so let me just bring up StreamYards and share with you, which is the first one. Hang on a second. So right, so I'm going to bring up this page so I can share this with you. 1 second. Share. Like I say, I hadn't planned. I don't often plan out things with podcasts, so it's going to be a little bit slow because, like I say, I haven't planned it out. So, um, but the reason, by the way, the reason I'm bringing this up today, other than the fact that Busker sent me something very interesting, is also because of the fact that there may be this idea that all of the left's other pursuits have gone off the boil, and you couldn't be further from the truth. These things now, they are fully switched on to, and they are fully committed now. They realize what's going on, and they are pushing these topics harder than ever. They are not messing about with this. So where was I? Sorry, I'm talking when I should be. 1 second. Right, so I think it's this one. All right, so let me just show you this. Okay, so this is from Breitbart. Okay, which I know they have their right leanings, but their right leanings. They're not far right. Now this story is actually wrong. So this is a fighter. This is a fighter who fractured a woman's skull. Right? No, they fractured two women's skulls. Two women's skulls. Bear in mind, I've told you that that skull fracture has only happened between men fighting once in the history of the UFC, and I don't know about outside of the UFC, but I think it's pretty much the same. So, and by the way, just before I get to the next part, something that is probably obvious, but I think I should say at this point anyway, it's not like there are hundreds and hundreds of women trying to transition, sorry, to become male athletes right now for obvious reasons, right? Just to be clear, there is not hundreds of women waiting to take on the men as men because they know what will happen. And so there's not a big queue for that. But amongst the people that aren't good enough to beat men, haven't got the genetics to beat men, but have grown up their entire life with a bone structure and everything else fed by testosterone that women don't have in the same quantities. They do feel like they can compete with women. And as you can see by this, when it turns to fighting, people get damaged, badly damaged. And this person is being named the bravest athlete in history. Why? Why? Because they're transgender? And by the way, let me just make a little caveat here. The transgender community is very much like the like many of the other communities, like whether it be the black community or whatever community they choose to bring up. And that is, there's a lot of people that just want to be left alone to live out their life. And the the trans activists pretend to talk for all trans people. They pretend to speak for the community when a lot of trans people will say there isn't a community. And personally, I'm a conservative, this, that, and I prefer to be left alone. And I don't like all of this. I don't want people to change things for me. I just want to get on with my life. That's when you try and speak to a lot of people, that's their attitude. So once again, you've got people speaking on other people's behalves, and often against their will. So as much as I'm bashing the delusions of some of these people, I'm really bashing the people facilitating that, because this wouldn't be happening without people trying to force narratives down your throat. So here's the thing. Even before this, let me just show you something as well, that the picture really does paint 1,000 words. 1 second. I think this is important to show you. Actually, hang on a second. I don't know if can I show it. I don't know if I can. 1 second. It's important if I can. Just bear with me, please. Shit. That's not the one. Where'd it go? Oh, there. That's the one. So let's see if that works. That work? No, it's not. It's not sharing. Okay, let me see if I can. I know what to do. Bring up a browser window. Sorry, just give me a second. You'll understand why in a second. Why I'm doing this. Okay, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Right, let's do that over there. Oh God, I've lost it again now. Oh, for sake! Right, now I'm getting annoyed. Hang on a sec, guys. Just bear with me. This is getting annoying now. We don't have this time. Right, so let's try this again. All I need to do is bring it into that page. Sorry, I'll try again. Right, okay, that should be it. So let's share that now. Oh, hang on, is that the right picture? Yeah, that's the right picture. Let's share that now. So, like I said, this is frustrating that I haven't managed to get all this ready, because it would have saved a lot of time and sort of breaking up the conversation. But Chrome tab. So this is one of the last examples of what we're talking about. Now, obviously, people get bloodied up in fights, and I don't want to try and paint a picture for you where everybody normally walks away blood-free. No, but let's put it another way, right? If I was to show you a picture of a man, and then show you a woman looking like that, when you knew it was that man, how would you feel about that man? Take all the fighting and transgenderism out of it. How would you feel about that man? Oh, there you go. There, this is the place that tells you. Look, broken two female opponents' skulls. And again, please remember what I said. There's not hundreds of women signing up to become men to take part in sports. There's hundreds of men signing up to become women to compete in sports. Yeah, so it's very obvious what's going on. Those who aren't good enough will try doing it in the field of the women. Now, here's the thing: first wave feminists are doing their nut, and the reason being is that they feel, I think rightly, like they fought to have a space of their own. Women fought to have a space of their own where, they could have things that were for women. They have things that men didn't control. They had a space of their own where it was all women. And now the third wave feminism has come along and said, oh no, that's bigoted. You need to accept these people as something that you can see and tell that they're not, and you now need to allow men into all the spaces that you've worked so hard to create and occupy. Um, and understandably, they are not just feeling threatened, but they know they can't compete in these sports, and they know that some serious harm is going to get done sooner or later, and they can't even have that space to themselves anymore. That they won, you know, it isn't just through the female rights movement. You hear all that. It's through the actions of a lot of men. But the point of it was they got all this, and without any science about transgenderism, except science they don't want to hear, and without any real facts, you've got the left doing the same thing again. Let's ignore the suicide rates. Let's ignore the unhappiness of these people. Let's concentrate on rights. And so you're giving rights before you know how valid that person's feelings and science and everything else are. Now, I've got this theory, right? If someone wants to have a gender identity, not gender, but gender identity, that's so important to them, live and let live. Let them carry on. Just don't force me to say it. Don't force me to lie and say I see something I don't see. And don't get involved in fucking women's sports. Yeah? Now, if you ask me, this transgenderism thing isn't going away. But I don't see it as being naturally occurring like I see homosexuality. So, or not in the same way. But it's not going away. Okay, so the very minimum that we should be doing is we should be saying, okay, even playing field, yeah, that's what the sports are supposed to be about, even playing field. If you want to be, if you're someone who has benefited from training and from growing up with male hormones in your body, male bone structure, male muscle density, and everything else, then you should be forced to compete against other transgender athletes because they are the closest body match to you that there is, and they are the only, as long as you had proper weight system and everything else, that's the only way you could have any sense of fair competition that could be structured and done fairly. By the way, I'm not all for this. I'm just saying then it's not going away anytime soon. Women are having the shit kicked out of them. And I see you've commented about Damon White. I thought Dana White. So Dana White, I thought, was keeping, unless he's changed his mind, was keeping this out. So let me show you what I mean. So Dana White, for those who don't know, he's the president of UFC. He's been around for a very long time and he knows how to make fights. He one time said there would never be women in the UFC, but changed his mind pretty quickly when Ronda Rousey came along. Although that's a hilarious story in itself. People got carried away and started saying that she could beat half the male roster and stuff. And this is something interesting that people should know, by the way. For people that think I'm trying to say the difference between men and women is such that women are inferior or anything else. No, I was always told to celebrate your differences, recognize your differences, learn from them, learn how you can complement each other, right? So people like Serena Williams, to name one of the very top people that's come out and said it, but there are others. They've come out and they've said that they would greatly struggle. This is Venus Williams, yeah, or Serena Williams. Sorry, she said this was a while ago. She said she would greatly struggle to beat any man in the top 500 in the world. That even surprised me. Even though I know the differences in that still surprised me that it was that far down. She just said the strength, the extra. I didn't know this, but there's apparently a slight extra reaction advantage, which I didn't know. She was explaining that she'd struggle to take on anybody in that top 500, which even I was shocked at. So bear that in mind, and you got someone who's been doing it a whole life, who, if anybody's going to have the confidence to take on and whip men's asses, it's going to be her. She's tried. And obviously, this is what she knows. And you hear a lot of other women saying the same thing. So then you've got, do you know what? I'm really considering banning Al Whistle if he carries on his fucking mouth. I've left him on it because I like him, but he keeps on with his fucking mouth. I'm going to slap him straight across it one of these days. So let me just go that thing with Dana White. And so probably best to ban someone than smack them around the fucking mouth. So bear in mind that transgender athlete that broke those two people's skulls was named the bravest athlete in history. Let me just see if I can find the one that addresses what Bolton was talking about. I don't know. Things have changed. So there's a fighter called Fallon Fox, as I think Bolton might be aware of. And this is Fallon Fox here. Is that sharing it to you guys? Yeah, that's Fallon Fox there. Fallon Fox is, a transition fighter. And Dana White said originally that he wasn't going to. I think no, sorry, he expressed an interest, but I think it was talking as though he's done a U-turn on that interest. But I don't know the latest. Maybe Bolton knows something I don't know there. But I also know that the other fighters, men and women, are not impressed. This is not about by the way, this is not about people being intolerant. Well, actually, yes, it is about people being intolerant. It's about the people that are fighting this war on behalf of these transgender people that and allowing this. They are right. Okay, so they're fighting for the rights of people to go and beat the shit out of women. So just like I said to you, that I hope one day we'll look back and be shamed at the fact that we allow our kids to be transitioned. But this to the other thing that in our society we would have never allowed before is the idea that it's just totally okay for a guy to look like a woman and then, or not even look like a woman, but basically look like they're in drag and then go and beat the shit out of an actual woman. There was a time when that just none of us would have stood for it. I'm right in saying that, aren't I? So let me take a look at. Hang on a second. I want to show you, or at least talk to you about so let's show the other side of it. Let's talk about the other side of it. And again, I'm sorry for the bitty and slow nature of this podcast. This was not planned. This has been sort of done last minute, and it was just that I wanted to get this off my chest. So I'm very aware it's not my best work. Okay, so please, I appreciate your patience. So hang on a second. So where was I going with this? I wanted to make sure I got the right page. There we go. I think just want to make sure I get. There we go. Right. Okay. Got it. Okay. So share again. Share. That was weird. Sorry. Share screen. Share. And then I just want to show. Right. So on this page, 10 I mean, don't get me wrong. Look at this website. I will say to you, look, it's a trash tier website. Yeah. Let's just take a look at the code. Yeah. This is a trash tier website. So you take a website like this, obviously, with a pinch of salt. Yeah. That I need to say off the get-go. It's a trash tier website. With that said, 10 transgender athletes explain why it's fair to compete. Now, obviously, I won't go through all 10, but it says From trans men to trans women, these athletes are those in the middle of debate about whether it's fair for transgender people to compete in sports. Ever since the Olympics allowed trans people to compete, the subject of transgender athletes is often argued. Below, we list 10 trans athletes along with what they have said about the transgender debate in sports. So, very well balanced argument there. Transgender cyclist Rachel McKinnon. Yeah, doesn't look at all like a bloke. Rachel McKinnon is a Canadian. See, this is worth noting as well. Much as I love many people from Canada, um, they are currently under the most woke, ridiculous government in the world, so that would make sense. She decided to voice her thoughts regarding whether it's fair for trans women to compete in elite sports against cis. By the way, cis women, right? You're going to start seeing this more now against cis women or cis men, CIS. Yeah. What to stop confusion for you? This is another new term that's been made up, and what they mean is heterosexual, just heterosexual, normal women and men. But you'll get cisgender now, and it's just normal. It's just normal, what most of us would call normal. Okay, so just so you know, so elite sports against cisgender women after British long distance runner Paula Radcliffe, highly respected person, as many of you know, argued it should be protected for females. What we were talking about with the conversation a bit earlier on carries on. The rights of trans athletes shouldn't hang. Oh, this is what this girl's got to say back. The rights of trans athletes shouldn't hang on what any individual says or does. No, it should always go to the fucking group thing, right? Rights don't work like that. No, they work whichever way it works best for you. So Paula continues to ignore facts. Trans women are legally are legally female, and trans women have been permitted to compete in Olympic eligible sports since October 2003. How does that prove her argument? Okay, so legally female, right? Legally female. Now, I bet that only pertains to Canada because as fruity as the rest of the world has got, I think Canada and Germany, the only two mad CUNT countries in the world that would go as far as making this thing legal to call someone. I don't know where our law stands over here, but this is definitely something the Canadians would dive into, the Canadian government. So I don't know how that would stand over here if they come over here. What they, obviously they probably have a female passport. But what I'm saying is I don't know what our laws are around this, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. But this is the sort of justification you hear from guys that take performance enhancing drugs, when the truth is they take them because they know they're not man enough to, or they feel they're insecure, they're not man enough to win competition fairly. And when you start hearing people saying, well, it's been, what she's basically saying is, well, the Olympics have let us do it since 2003. That's a whataboutism. And trans women are legally female. Yeah, legally female in your country, not actually female in any biological sense. And we can prove that just by, let's take your hormones away and see what happens. It's shameful. And before I used to see white liberals getting up and speaking for these people, and it's very frustrating. But when you see these sports people, look, when you see the sports people do it right, is it not obvious self fucking interest? I mean, are people that fooled by it that they can't see that it's obvious self interest? As I said, there are not queues of women looking to take on men. There are queues of men looking to take on women. And the fact that they're shameless in all of this is beyond me. Why not have a transgender part of the games if you really, because let's face it, people aren't going to let it alone, right? And if you try and eliminate it, people will just go harder and harder to try and make it a real thing. So it's like, okay, well, while you've got the 40% suicide rate and people are topping themselves in that community, while you won't let us help, while you won't let us investigate, while you won't let us do the science, have the transgender fucking sports, but face other transgender people. So you've got men beating up men. Um, and this is ranges from wrestling, I mean proper amateur wrestling, to all kinds of things. But the fighting, obviously, being the most violent, is where you're seeing the impact the most. Um, Someone's going to get killed as a result of this, and this is what I'm saying about the left. They focus on the small things like rights, and they don't realize that their action is going to get someone severely brain damaged or killed. Um, so she says the very idea that we must protect cis women's or female. So when you got someone that keeps saying cis women, right, you know just how far gone they are on the left. Who else do you know that speaks like that? Right? Speak fucking English. Yeah? Normal women, right? So the very idea that we must protect cis women or female sport from trans women who are legally female too is an irrational fear of trans women, which is the dictionary definition of transphobia. No, it's not. By the way, a phobia is an irrational fear, which she's saying. So is it irrational for a woman to get into a cage and be afraid that the person across that cage has had the okay, so let's say I get in a cage with someone tomorrow, and I know for their entire life they have been taking TRT and they have been on, I don't know, 150% of the normal testosterone they should be, and they've been taking it into an age where, even though they're the same age as me, their body's acting as though it's half as young, right? That would be frightening for me to go in and face. So why is it an irrational fear for a woman to fear getting into the cage with someone who's basically a monster who has used their natural, testosterone, bone structure, and everything else, and then decided when in they failed in the men's side of it to turn trans. How is that remotely an irrational fear? How is that not calling out bullshit? How is that not calling a spade a spade? You are men. Doesn't matter how you have your hair. It doesn't matter if you have your dick taken off. You've grown up as men. You have the strength and bone structure as men. You are not men. Therefore, you are putting us women in the position of getting hurt and never winning anything again in our own sports. What the fuck is wrong with that argument? What the fuck is wrong with that argument that they are making? And do you remember at one time women have to struggle to be heard? And amazingly, the left is making them struggle to be heard again because it should be their opinion that matters most in all this, and it's not. They're getting ignored. So Chris Mosier, the first transgender athlete to make a US national men's team, the first to be sponsored by Nike, and also the first to be an ESPN body issue. So you notice all these people get all the perks. The trans advocate is also the founder of transathletes.com. See what I mean? They are fanatics. A site aimed to increase awareness about transgender athletes and help support people at all levels. Mosier, yeah, but it's not all levels, though, is it? This is the problem. This is the problem. Mosier wrote an opted about an op-ed about trans youth in sports for Out in January. He explained the reality that transgender girls are girls and transgender boys are boys. Oh, sorry. The reality is that transgender girls are girls and transgender boys are boys. It's okay him saying the reality is. Fucking prove it. Prove it in science. Just because you've got a warped government up in the Canada that might agree with you, prove it in science. You can't. It's impossible. So why would someone go on record as making a statement like this? It says there is a fear that someone somehow allowing girls who are transgender to compete with other girls will give them a competitive advantage. But this is completely misunderstands the facts. It's based on false stereotypes. No, it's not. What stereotypes? What stereotypes? There is no blueprint for this. So what stereotypes could he possibly be talking about? There are no stereotypes. This hasn't happened before. Fucking nutcase. So he's saying that because these people have legally been called girls, or because they've had an operation, they're girls, and boys are boys. Deal with it. No, no, that is completely alienating the majority of women, and men. If it's on the other side, it's completely undermining their feelings, their facts, and everything else for a group of people that do not have science and facts yet to back them. So this is irresponsible of the high. Anyway, let me just carry on. High school athletes come in all shapes and sizes and skill and ability levels. This is what it comes down to, isn't it? This is, we can't have proper competition or anything else. They want the cake and eat it again. They don't want people competing at school. That competition is considered to be part of the patriarchy. But then, when a man wants a sex change, he wants to beat up onto the women. That's totally okay. I'm gonna go over this because this. So he's saying, this person's saying, barring trans people from participation hurts everyone. No, don't ban them from participation. Ban them from participation with something that they are not, which is women. Whether they legally are called women or not, fight transgender people. You are transgender. That's why you're being called transgender before anything else, because it gives us an understanding of what you actually are. I don't know why this is even a conversation. I mean, take a look at this picture here, for instance. If I can see what page is it? That the same page? Hang on a second. You see this? Yeah, you see the rugby player. I mean, take a guess as to who's who. Do you know what I'm saying? So okay, in fighting you've got weights. That does make a small amount of difference, but look at the weight discrepancies. I mean, come on. The thing is, as well, how could you feel any sense of victory knowing that? I mean, I just people will do anything to win, but it's just so fucking sad. It's so sad. Anyway, so let me I really should wrap up because I know this has been a mess today, and I do apologize. I wasn't really prepared. But I'm doing some other stuff in the background, which is kind of taking up my other time. So I had to kind of do it this way. So I do apologize. But let me just see if I can. 1 second. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't find it now. Hang on a sec, guys. Lost it again now. I've completely fucking lost the fucking thing. I'm still on the page, but I can't find it. I'll give up in a second. Don't worry, I won't see it all fucking day. No, it doesn't look like it's there. That's really weird. Right, well, I seem to have lost it. But anyway, you get the flavour. So the transgender athletes with obvious things to gain and everything to lose. The transgender athletes are not even remotely sensitive to the issues that the women have got. They don't give a fuck about the past struggles of women. They don't give a shit about the past struggles that they've gone through, and the fact that the status quo where women's concerned is still relatively new. Women's rights is still relatively new, and it's all still an experiment. But at least there's fucking science to back up the claims of women and or the original first wave feminists anyway. Um, now now you have this, and I don't know about you, I would find it hard to watch a fight like that. I did watch one, and it was horrid to watch. because the power discrepancy between them was just horrific. I mean, you've got two people punching each other, right? And you can see one person has got no pop on their punch, so they're hitting the other person just as much. It's not doing anything. And the other person, every punch that hits this person's skull, you can feel yourself. Do you know what I mean? You know that's killing brain cells every time. And it's just, then they take them to the floor and they're just beating the crap out of them. And it's just, don't forget as well, technique in things like UFC will normally always outdo brute strength. But there is a point. You couldn't do this through a whole fight, but when you're fresh, there is a point where raw strength will actually outdo technique on the occasion and get you out of certain positions. Again, a a trick that these people will have up their sleeve that the women won't. It's just not fair. Um, so yeah, let them have the transgender games. Do you know what I mean? Let them have the transgender games, um, and beat the shit out of each other as much as they want. But you know, they they want to have their cake and eat it. And what I mean by that is, as well as the obvious need to cheat and to win, they also all like to say that sex and gender is a social construct, all made up, which we know is not true, by the way. But they try to say that it's all made up. Well, if it's all made up, then why have a sex change? Because sex means nothing. You have gone on record to say that sex is a social construct. You don't buy into it. Um, and yet, in the same breath, they come out and say, I was born in the wrong body. I was always meant to be a woman, blah, 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 blah. And they go through these transitions and everything else. It's like you're having your cake and eating it there. That is completely having your fucking cake and eating it. And I don't know about you, but I'm not impressed with that. I just think these are obvious statements made by people that are looking after their own career and their own success and their own ability to make money because they know they couldn't do it taking on actual men. Let me just have a quick look through. 1 second. Yeah, so the last instance of this person breaking this person's skull was a knee to the face. So I don't know if you know what a Muay Thai clinch is, but it's where you have your hands wrapped around the back of the person's head and you pull their head down. At the same time, you're jumping and throwing knees up to their chin or to their face. And often your face is pointing down, so the knee will impact you straight in the middle of the face. And that's the technique that was used here. So it landed on her chin, completely dropped her, unconscious, face first on the mat. And that was her last. By the way, the person that happened to, that was her last pro fight. Sorry, now I remember why I turned this on to do this. I'm just so angry so you've got this Fox person I was telling you about. She's beating people up and women in the ring. She's won every match but one. Has weathered online attacks from the likes of Joe Rogan, who Joe Rogan only points out the facts, by the way, on this subject. I well recommend you go and look at Joe Rogan's opinion on all of this. I think we can all agree that getting back online after Joe Rogan has knocked you down is far braver than facing another bodied of your own muscle mass and size in a fight. Um, Fox also beat Tamika Brent's giving her a concussion and breaking 7 orbital bones. But that's super brave too, taking an unfair male-bodied advantage and using it to give female-bodied opponents brain injuries. And that is said perfectly. Vice also defended Fox in account. In its account of his career. Fallon was born with a peen. I presume they mean penis. No one's perfect. Wow. I throw away too much salad. She was raised as a dude. I am told is traditional in Ohio for babies born with outwardly expressive genitalia. But that peen never did sit right with her, and since 2008, she has been a woman in the mind, body, and soul. Do you speak fucking English? You crazy cunt. This shows you the bubble that they're in. Who speaks like that you know? That you know personally? You'd slap the face off them for speaking like that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I've wound myself up enough for that. Let's get rid of that. Just so this I want to actually just wonder if that will play the sound. Let me see if this plays the sound. So I'm going to try and play you a clip. I don't know exactly what this clip is. Got an idea. When it starts playing, if there's no sound, would you all write no sound in the comments for me, please, so that I know, because we have had problems with this before. So I'm sharing it. Sharing it. Hang on a second. Sharing it. Where is it? Was it that one? I think it might have been that one. Share. Right, yeah, I think it was. Right, so can you hear this? Can you hear this? I don't know if you can or not. I'm going to pause it there and find out and come back. No, you couldn't hear that. Bollocks. Okay. Let me just take that off again. I'll try one more time. That's actually a real shame because Rogan's got some good points on this. Just bear with me a second. Fuck's sake. Hang on a sec, guys. So I'm so sorry. Like I said, this is what happens when you're doing it live and you haven't got it all to hand. So my fault. My fault. It's so frustrating trying to find stuff I'm looking for. Where's the Rogan one gone? Can't find it. It's fucking annoying. No, I'm gonna have to give up on that. I think I can't find it anywhere now. Even though it's still linked to it, I can't find it. That's fucking stupid. Oh well, I'll leave that. I'll leave that one. Because otherwise it's gonna take all fucking day. But meantime, let's have a quick look at the other people there. I'm sorry about that Joe Rogan video. I don't know why that's. Oh, hang on, hang on. I see it now. So I see that's got. Let's go on YouTube. Let's go on YouTube and see if we can try it. So I'm going to try one more time to share that vid, and if it doesn't work, then pause to it. So I need. Sorry, one back. StreamYards again. I hate doing all this production stuff while we're live. I'm so sorry, guys. Screen share. Definitely why probably ones like this I should record first and then edit down and give to you guys. Right, so where is it? Right, share. So again, tell me if you hear sound in the following clip, okay?
And has taken female hormones for 2 is the same. You put Brock Lesnar, chop his dick off and put him in a dress. That guy's gonna maul through the women's heavyweight division like nothing you've ever seen.
Yeah,
because we're built different, and it's just a fact. And anyone who tries to argue that is crazy. And there's certainly standouts in terms of women who are like much more muscular, higher bone density, particularly African American women have very high bone density. But there's a different shape to their hips. There's the size of the hands, the size of the shoulders. Things are different. And also the imprinting of years and years of testosterone. Just there was a great article board certified endocrinologist who went over all the things that separate men from women, which should exclude them from competing in combat sports against women. And this woman was called a transphobe, and she's a fucking endocrinologist, you idiot. She's talking about the science, and she's also talking about the science of one of the things they talk about is how women, or trans women, once they transition to being a woman, they're basically biologically almost exactly the same as women. She was like, no. Not only that, but the bone density is retained by taking estrogen, which is what the problem with women when they have osteoporosis is they're losing estrogen, they lose bone mass. Well, the estrogen actually helps you retain bone mass. So when a man transitions to a woman and then starts taking estrogen, it's actually helping retain the bone mass he would have lost by not having testosterone. And then on top of that, reaction times, reaction times are several tenths of a second faster in general for women than they are rather than they are for even professional athletes.
Point I was making earlier on.
All these variables that need to be taken into consideration when you're allowing someone to do a sport.
And here's the point. All these things that need to be taken into consideration and have not been.
And we're not just talking about bike racing. We're not talking about, something where someone
non-contact.
We're talking about the most contact. We're talking about fucking fighting. There's benefits that certain people have. There's physical attributes that there's variables inside the genders, right? There's some men that have gigantic physical advantages over other men, and all of those are taking into you. There's no like even playing field when it comes to even intergender competition, or
right. Well, I think we can all agree that there is no even playing field. So I'm going to stop that there. There's the name of the video. Should you want to go and just check that out. But as far as I know, UFC aren't going to sign Fallon and Fox unless Bolton has seen something I haven't, which would be very disappointing if they have. But you can see that pressure is going to be put on them. But I think the UFC is a very kind of Republican, or at least Dana White is very Republican kind of guys. I don't know how that would work out for them. So let me just get back to seeing you guys properly. So I put the links in there if anybody wants to join me, because I've gone on a ramble, and again, not my tightest podcast, but I'm just going to have a look at a couple more things. But you're welcome to come on if you've got anything you want to say, especially women. I want to hear what women have got to say about this. But anybody, if you've got anything you want to say, if you want to get off your chest, any opinions, if you don't agree with me, fine, then come and say so. And if there's something you feel like I've left out that's important, then again, please feel free to click that link. Before you come on, I can see you in the studio anyway. And in that time, you will have the choice to turn on your mic, turn it off, and your camera on and off. So you don't have to have your face on there if you don't want to. And most people choose not to. So you just don't have your camera turned on. So feel free to come and join us. There's no pre-qualifications other than don't be a dick. That's it. So bear in mind, I think Martina Navratilova was lesbian, wasn't she? And she, Paula Radcliffe, and Kelly Holmes have all come out and said this is wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. One second. So they're them and do you remember Sharon Davies, the swimmer? They are part of a group of a campaign led by Pressure Group, Fair Play for Women. And I think this is it. It says, I believe there's a fundamental difference between the binary sex you are born with and the gender you may identify as. And this is what I think. We're not going to stop the gender identity thing, right? We're just not. But we could at least draw a line and say there are two genders, and until you can prove it in science, that's it. But gender identities is something you can't deny, because it's a bit like non-specific back pain or depression. You can't see it, you can't prove it, you can't, so you could give someone that, but physically and everything else, come on, this is disgusting, and we all know it. And so, the idea that all these things are not going on now, whilst all this lockdown stuff and that's going on, you'd be very, very wrong. We may be finding it difficult to pull things off. These people are pushing these things through quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And actually, companies like the UFC are important, because while they are holding out against this, they have weight because they're the biggest company in this industry. The moment they do give in, that's it, we're all fucked. And the worst of it is, it's not men that will be in trouble. It's every single female athlete, and it's not fair. It's just not fair. Because don't forget, women athletes, especially in fighting at the moment, probably have to work harder than men. Probably really do. And only just recently are we really beginning to see the first crop of truly, truly skilled female fighters that are on another level. And my fear is that those girls will go away. Why would you want to get into a sport where the chances of you getting hurt by someone who shouldn't even be doing it very high, whilst the chances of you getting some decent pay because you're going to be getting beaten by these people very low? So why would you want to do it? It's just prize fighting. People do it for the money. So it even says here, so self-identification policies where someone simply has to declare themselves as female will have an impact on the women and girls competing now and in the future. It's so vastly unfair. Why would you want to compete in a sport where you literally can never win? Right. And that's it. And the left and that have created such a stink about competition in schools, and everybody's a winner, and they don't want anybody to feel like losers and all this other poisonous stuff. But they're okay setting up sports in a like they said, in a way where you literally can never win. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. When the TRT treatment was rife in the UFC, I remember Joe Rogan even saying, why don't we just have an anabolic steroid league and a non-anabolic steroid league? And there was there was actually some traction to that, because at least it'd be honest, and would let the clean people fight clean, But so much has changed since then. But the attitude of these people are no different. Now imagine any of these people. Imagine any of these people that took performing enhancing drugs on top of it. And arguably, because they've been messing around with their biology for years. So normally these tests are done by having a baseline test for you. But I bet it's really difficult to get a baseline test on a transgender athlete that's constantly having to change their hormones around. So is it harder to catch? I'm speculating, but is it harder to catch someone who's been cheating? I don't know, but I'd be interested to know. And so someone's just saying here, I'm sorry for that, but oh, hang on. So this person's saying they're not suggesting that transgender athletes in general are cheats. Well, I am. I'm saying they're completely and utterly cheating. And any transgender athlete that is going to something like fighting and beating all the women, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be fighting on an even playing field. You should be fighting other people like yourself, or fighting men. But you would consider that fighting men to be wrong, wouldn't you? Because you consider yourself a girl, and you consider that fighting a man would be improper. You fucking hypocrites, scumbags. And I'm not talking about the whole transgender community, because the fact is there is no transgender community. As I said it before, all there is a bunch of white liberal leftists who like fighting these battles on other people's behalf. The only people we're hearing from transgender wise are the winners, the people that of course they're going to talk good about it because it's them making money and it's them winning. So of course they can talk good about it. Everyone else keeps their mouth shut because they know what they're doing is cheating. When you see fighters draining all of the body out of their water, all the water out of their body before a fight, making themselves dehydrated, and they look like shit. They look like they're dying, just so that they can be a bigger fighter at that weight in the fight, as opposed to just fighting at the next weight up. Shows you how size and how crazy the psychology is with winning and everything else with people in the MMA in general. This whole toxic thing with the transgender stuff it just takes it all to another level. So I actually just want to 1 second. Oh God, sorry, I can't even be bothered to read out the pseudoscience. So I'm just seeing on here. So the explanation to a lot of people that are questioning, I mean, sports people who are questioning the moral implications of this, the answer they're getting back: educate yourselves. That's fucking rich. Right, look, listen to this comment made by someone. This was just someone who made a comment on Twitter, and it's been picked out as a sign of bigotry. You tell me what's wrong with this. Quote, but just as the trans athlete had, quote, your muscle mass is still visibly at least double theirs. Don't you think that gives you an unfair advantage? End quote. That's been picked out as bigotry. It says here the person responded by blocking the user, blocking them for asking that question. It wasn't rudely written. How fair a question is that? How fair is that? Seriously. You got swimmers here. And again, number one. It's not coming second, it's coming number one. Stresses me out. I am genuinely a sort of live and let live kind of liberal minded person. Go do your thing. Go and go and tell yourself that you're a 3-year-old cow and half giraffe. I don't care. But when you start hurting other people and when your actions start to affect other people, that's when I do care. And again, I just want to be clear because it's so easy to blame the transgender people. The only transgender people I'm blaming at the moment is these sports cunts here. I'm sorry about my language. These sports people here. But majority of transgender people don't speak like this. They're being spoken for. But these people, as you can hear by their speech patterns, they're far gone because they're justifying winning. I mean, you look at this picture here. Actually, this is worth. This is just one last share, okay? People say to me all the time, "Oh, if you met a really good transgender, you'd find it hard to tell the difference between them." I've seen maybe 2 people that I ever had a problem telling difference, and it wasn't for very long, it was for minutes. And the reason I had a problem telling the difference was also because of their race, which made it harder for me to assess. I can honestly tell you, and I'm open to being wrong, but thus far in my life, I can honestly tell you that I have not come across a trans person that has fooled me. Um, and in most cases that I've come across them, it's more like they're in drag, if I'm totally honest with you. They're not meant to be, they're meant to be something else, but that's how a lot of them look. And I'm just being honest, it's not even a criticism, but the idea that what was it that somebody said on their YouTube channel? If you care about what's between someone's legs rather than what's in their heart and their soul, then there's something wrong with you. This was a person that basically had transitioned and then wasn't getting any dates, so was blaming everybody else and their bigotry. And it's like, well, actually, yeah, I do care what you got between your legs, because I ain't touching a cock for nobody, and that's my choice. And your intolerance over my choice is exactly the problem here. It's like we've opened our arms to everybody, but cisgender, cis male, cis female, they're taking the piss. And about time we drew a little line under this and stop this bullshit, because this will carry on. No, but Jason Bourne, I get your point, but this is what I'm trying to say. For moments when you're talking about people in Bangkok, for moments, yes. And I said to you, didn't I? I said that the ethnicity of the people was what caused longer confusion, and that was part of what caused me to take longer to figure it out than I normally would. But there was still signs in the chin and in the arms, and there was still little signs, even if I wasn't sure what it was at first, and I wouldn't even say that I got a particularly good eye for it. I just thought they were really obvious. Made me not decide. I'm not saying there's nobody out there that can pull it off. What I am saying is it's fucking rare to be able to pull it off, and that's just the look. That's not even talking about the insides, Oh, I was going to do something. Hang on. So right. What's this one? Okay. So this one is thank you for the people that have stuck with me tonight. I do appreciate. It might be a bit frustrating the way I'm doing this tonight, and again, I'm sorry. I should have been more prepared, but I didn't expect. Yeah, I don't know really. It's because I'm trying to do too many things at once. 1 second. Is this the one? I think this is the one. So let's keep going. Is it this one? Hopefully it is, otherwise it just popped up. Oh, maybe it's not this one. No, hang on a second. Be right with you. Ah, that's right, that's where it is. So, okay, this one. Right. So, let's get back to StreamYard, see what you're seeing. So this is Fallon Fox again, the fighter we talked about earlier on. Now, I've seen muscly fighters. Chris Cyborg is a female, and often been made fun of because she does look a bit blokey. She was one of the scariest female fighters on the planet. And there's a girl called Amanda Nunes, who is gay, but again, well built, and has got one hell of a punch on her. But when you look at the arms of this person, for instance, and the cheekbones and everything else, they don't compare. They just don't. And that's just a nobody like me seeing it from this distance. That's just the surface stuff that you can see. This means something underneath that skin, you know, guys. You know? So this has been going on obviously for a very long time. Like they said, the Olympics 2003, it was made, you know, but the thing of it is that not enough people are calling out. And obviously where everything else is lockdown and everything else is going on at the moment, this is where they're going to make the biggest pushes and the biggest shifts to subjects like these. And that's why these stories are popping up at the moment, because these are things they're going to try and get through whilst all this lockdown business is going on. It's up to us to let them know we are watching, and that we're going to, you know, we need to keep fighting it in whatever way we can, and we need to support the the female community in all this. I truly believe that. This is not about hating on transgender people. This is about protecting women, and the rights that they fought so hard for, and other people fought so hard for on their behalf. You know, so yeah, you know. Anyway, I'm going to offer you this link one more time. If you don't take it, that's up to you. But at least I know I've offered it to you. I'm gonna just have a quick look back through the comments, and then I'll probably call it a day, because although like I say, it's a bit disjointed. I think I've made enough of a point that I wanted to, even though if it was a bit all over the place. I think I still made the point. I promise you that in the future, I will make a much more concise and pretty version of this sort of topic. I shouldn't really have made a video like this, but I thought I'd give it a try and see what happened. So I'm going to go through the comments on StreamYard, so that may mean that I can't see some of them, okay? So good to see you, Busker, obviously. Good to see you, John Francis, Bottom Wanderer out there. Good to see you all. So just going through. Obviously, I realise sometimes I get caught up in the comments that happened ages ago, and I realise that I've been doing that stupidly for so long. I need to remember to catch up first before I start talking. I'm highlighting your comments, obviously, because they're catching my eye. Super J, by the way, everybody, Super J, super cool person. As I said before, kind of accepted me as part of the movement before anyone else, really. And does great videos. Please go and check out his channel and subscribe. Great guy. Honestly, this guy here, I really, really like him, but he's really getting on my fucking nerves at the moment. I don't know if it's because I've triggered him about his stupid little job, or whether he's just feeling it because of the lockdown. I genuinely don't want to block him. I do like him, but he's getting on my fucking nerves at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to do a power trip over him, so I'm going to block you, because that's really sad. But it's sad when you like someone and then you've got to sit and think about blocking them. But it's getting right up my fucking hooter, to be honest. And I know normally you shouldn't let that out on a stream, because people will go, I'm getting to you, I'll do it again. But it's like, I'm saying it because he's a guy that I like, and it's just a shame. If it was someone I didn't like, believe me, they'd be gone already. Well said, Bolton. Are there any men's netball teams? See, I agreed with you, Bolton, up until the day when I saw Amanda Nunes fight and Holly Holm, and I realised that some women can put a pop in that punch, and not as many as they'd like to believe, but some women really can put a pop in that punch. And Amanda Nunes fights with the skill level and accuracy and power of a bloke. I'm not saying she could go and take out 10 blokes. What I'm saying is it's people like her that have changed my perception of it. So I'm not as traditional as you in that I don't think that they've got no place in those sports. I do think when you watch an MMA bout, a lot of women don't have the endurance for the fights that they're the same length fights as they do for the men. I just think they're too long. You can see they're getting worn out. And some of those women are too tough for their own good. Some of the punishment they take is too much. But that could all be worked out. That could all be worked out. But no, I think women have taken a little while, but I think they've proven themselves as testy, good, skilled fighters, and I've got no problem with them being in the fight game as long as they realise what they're getting into. Like you said, Tom, they have the right to compete, but against their sort only because, especially men, transition to women have a total advantage. Yeah, as I said, you're not getting lines and lines of women wanting to become men to compete. So. Right, exactly, Bod. Exactly, Bod. So if you've been so imagine you've been cheating. So not only you've been a man all these years, but what if you're a man that was taking um, hormones as well, as in not hormones to suppress, but hormones to cheat. Now that probably has happened because of the amount of cheating that goes on. So exactly, you're creating muscle memory and a body built around that body chemistry. So it doesn't matter whether you're suppressing those hormones. I mean, it affects you, but it doesn't matter if you're suppressing those hormones 18 years later, because, like you say, muscle memory and other things, it's already been done. The work's been done. Yeah, exactly. Rosina Ma, that was funny. This is what I agree. But where is the conscience in them to when they are on top of a woman in mounted position and punching her in the side of the head until submission or knockout? Where is the shame? I don't know about you. I couldn't have a killer instinct. Wow, I didn't know this. They're getting into women's prison. Bolton said they're getting into women's prisons too. Pre-op, pre-op. One was a rapist who sexually assaulted two women in the prison. Madness. Yeah, I'm glad you put that madness on the end there, Bolton. What the fucking hell? Yeah, I agree. It it will, but the problem we've got is okay. So I agree with what you said there, Sid. But the problem is we've got a government that's just as woke. So we've got a problem. We've got a problem. We've got nobody non-woke to vote for. That's our issue. Sorry, just trying to catch up. Okay, so this is interesting. My response to your being deleted never happened to me before. Deleted by, I'm assuming by not the mods, but by oh, sorry, excuse me, by YouTube. What you may or may not be aware of is every time they change their terms and conditions. By the way, make sure you've got top chat on and not, sorry, live chat on and not top chat, because top chat will censor everybody's results. So make sure you got it on live chat. But the other thing is as well is that YouTube now censor my comments on my own station. They censor my comments in both the live chat and on the boards now. So there are a few that I can release, but most of them, they go above my head now. We're supposed to be business partners. Well, I don't. And this is the other thing. Bit of sexuals coming in. So minor attracted people. Remember Bodsky, minor attracted people, Netflix attracted people. And that minor attracted people is there. That particular terminology is there to desensitize the masses to that extra letter being added to that LGBTI, all the other bloody letters group. So I don't think you're wrong to say that or that. Bod is a friend to the channel. He's been around a very long time. He's got some things I don't agree with, and he's got some things that I do agree with. And he's a good guy. I'm sorry that YouTube's been messing around with the chat, guys. Hey, I like it. My little girl gonna be boxes. No, no problem, Bolt. And it's hard because there's been a few, like I said, there's been a few stories happened at once. So, yeah, so it's easy to make the confusion. I was a bit confused myself at first. Oh God, yeah. Can anybody answer that? I can't remember, but I know who you mean. Oh God. Oh God, I used to know the name of the, like, yeah. Yeah. Boom. Hang on a second. Could you, oh actually maybe I can get it out of here. Oh no, maybe I can't. Hang on a second, I'm gonna need to go to the main YouTube chat to do it. 1 second. Let me just put Bolton's comment up there so you know what I'm doing. So sorry about the messy nature of this podcast today. Right, 1 second. I want to. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. He's done it. He's done it. Have you? Is that right? Oh my goodness, I forgot how bad it was. Right, so excuse me, I'm so sorry. Let's share. And Bolton, feel free to give us a commentary on what you know about this, because obviously I remember it, but not that well. But what Bolton was referring to is oh, this is so frustrating. Not being totally ready. 1 second. I really do apologize. Just give me 1 moment. Oh God, that's so annoying. Right. I know what happened. I know what happened. Right. That's got to go over to there. Right. And then that's got to go there. Right. Okay. So try again. Share. Now, ridiculously long address, the longest one there. Which should be oh, sorry, bear with me 1 more minute. No, that's not it. The fuck? Oh, this is good. Right. Hang on. There's a simple way of doing this because I've had enough now. My patience is running out. Keeping you waiting. I will try perhaps do an edited version of this because keeping you waiting is just effing ridiculous. So, oh, hang on. Can't be downloaded securely. What are you talking about? That's interesting. Hang on a second. I actually can't get a decent picture of this person to download because it doesn't like it. It's not letting me share the screen. Right, just bear with me. I'm going to give up in a minute because I'm running out of patience. So I don't know why this isn't working. Let's try doing that to open it up a bit more. Right, that would at least. Oh, for fuck's sake! Do you know what? It's so fucking frustrating. Let's go back to there. Go back to there. There. Right. One more thing I can do. It shouldn't actually be this hard. This is absolutely the most ridiculous. I think there's a flaw today because when I started trying to film today, this StreamYard was really playing up badly and it wasn't playing the sound in the right place and everything. So and we had a bit of a thing the other night. So I'm wondering if they're having a server problem because things aren't working the way they should be. Yeah, very strange. Anyway, right. So let's just try one more time. It's just where's this? I've got to try and find the right one. Right, okay. Okay. Oh no, that's not right either. You fucking prick. But that is. Um, bear with me. Oh, like I say, we'll edit this together. If it's worth editing, I doubt it will be, but I will consider it. Right, so let's start again. Right, go back a minute. So sorry for the wait. This must be really getting on people's nerves now, all for a fucking picture, which I should have given up on ages ago. But it's got past the point of principle now. Do you know what I mean? So just going to race quickly just to because I might be able to show you a couple of other things while I'm doing it. So there we go. Right. Well, I suppose the only good thing is it gives me a chance to see just how badly the equipment can perform on its worst days, and I'm certainly seeing that today. So it's interesting to know because StreamYard is on its own server, so you don't expect to have that many problems with it. But it's interesting to see how many. Mind you, they have just updated it, so kind of I think there's a few bugs. So okay, so let's see if I can bring this page up because this would be handy to be able to have this live. Yeah, I can. Okay, right. Fucking finally. Right. So, see what I mean? I haven't done anything different from before, but now it's letting me show you stuff. You tell me why. So, this is the athlete that Bolton talked about. Just to give you a sort of idea. This isn't to take the piss, by the way. It really isn't, but it is important. This was when was this about 185, did you say? I can't remember what you said. I can't see the chat at the moment. You know, And again, I mean, in pictures like that is where you can really see the sort of difference. And I defy you. You get built female athletes. They look great, but there is a difference to how they look. You know, I mean that's just a joke. Sorry, but so I see that. But yeah, so that's the one that Bolton was on about. But there's more here. Now let me come back to you guys because I'm so sorry that took so long. It's fucking ridiculous. It wasn't worth the payoff, was it? Still catching up. So, well, this is the thing as well, is that what they don't get is like if there was legitimate science to it, and um and there was some legitimacy to it. Capitalism isn't going to mind that you're transsexual. Capitalism's going to love it because it means there's going to be new classes of exercise for transgender people, new sporting events for all chances to make money off a new set of clientele. That's how the business minds and the free market should be looking at it. And but instead they're being told, no, you've got to put us in this bracket because in our fucked up backwards little place where Trudeau will be the last fucking French-born fucking prime minister there for a very long time. When you got people making laws like he is over there, bonkers that he is. I can understand why some people are confused, but what is there to be confused about in terms of your participation in beating the shit out of women when you know perfectly well how you started? How can you justify it? How can you try and make the excuses? You do have an advantage. It's a loaded question when someone asks you that because we already know that you have the advantage, which is why you're all winning. It's why you're all winning and fracturing people's skulls in the process. So, anybody that finds pleasure in that when you are not evenly matched, fucking shame on you. And like I say, mostly I don't see transgender people pushing this. It's mostly the white lefty liberals. But when it comes to the actual people who've got a lot to lose, the winners, so to speak, they're all on there justifying it. Well, it's I'm legally female. And the fact that you've got to say legally female as opposed to I am female and there is no doubting it says it all. Says it all. And all I hear is a bunch of justifications. And I say that if we allow these people to do this, we might as well just allow performance enhancing drugs back into sports then. In fact, why don't we just bring children and teenagers into boxing before they're ready and have them have the shit kicked out of them as well? Why not? Why not? There's very little moral difference. So why not? If might as well just make it worse than the Romans, just throw people in the pit, see who survives. I know, dramatic, but at the same time, not really. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Obviously, nobody's got the balls to jump on me today, which is fine. I don't. Obviously, it's not going to happen every time, and I just want to know that I've at least offered you out there the opportunity. And as well, just the women. Obviously, it's hard to get women viewers. We used to do very well with women viewers, but it's very difficult in a landscape that is 70-30 dominated by men. But we've always done all right in the past. But I'd love to hear women's views. I'd love to hear everybody's views. So even if you don't want to jump on today, then at some point, when we cover this properly, as in when it's not a messy podcast like this, and we haven't got 14 people sat here because the rest of them got fucked off waiting for me, then we will, and I'm not swearing every 5 seconds, then we will cover it properly. But I just wanted to say something. That picture that we started off with today, the bloody one, I just thought, come on, when's enough? They have literally got That's what amazes me about the left. They go on and on about their righteous positions, but they've got no empathy or compassion for anybody other than the people in the club that they decide are worth having it for. Everybody else doesn't get a scrap of humanity even fed to them. These people are fucking horrible. There's no two ways about it. You know, they try and marginalize everybody, and then take the minority that hasn't even been allowed to be checked out by science and push their needs that they don't even know that are their needs because they've just taken it on their own backs. Forget the suicide problem. Forget the mental health problems. Let's just give them more rights because that's what people with a 40% suicide rate need, isn't it? More rights. Fucking idiots. It's dangerous. Anyway, I think I have said enough. And like I say, obviously today is not a day for you to join me. Sorry, it's not my best podcast. I will do better next time. Lesson learned in terms of don't try and take on something of this size when you haven't got yourself ready. So lesson learned, and I apologise. But still, I hope we got a sort of semi-point across. And I really appreciate the support. I love you guys. Thanks for the people who did stick in with me, and for the people that left, I don't fucking blame you. Yeah, I will be releasing a video, whether it be today or tomorrow, and a lot of it is going to be on the scooter riding. It's a test pilot video. It's a proof of concept video. The reason I'm telling you this now is otherwise you may see it and think, is this Tom trying to put out his best effort? No, the video will be, especially as I lost 20 minutes of the video as well, the video will be an attempt to play around with it and see and show you as well what the other camera I got is like, quality of it, and show maybe some potential in what we could do with it. So I'm going to make up something like a mock kind of video. So I'm going to put it out there. So if you see this video and it seems a bit over the top, what I'm doing is playing with ideas. So just to warn you that that's going to be coming up in the next couple of days. But let me just read what Jason said here. Well, yeah, I mean, that's simple, but it's true. And the chromosomal facts before you even get to the bodily parts and functions say that as well. So but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate in a world where everybody has to be included. It's like, well, okay, you can be included with each other, but no, I get your point totally. Right, thank you all so much for joining me again. I'm irritated with myself for allowing the numbers to fall, but that was my own fault. At the moment, I'm like, if I'm trying to find something, I won't give up. And really, when you're doing a live show, you shoot. If you can't find it within about 10 seconds, give up. So we'll come back to this as we have done in the past, and a little bit more prepared next time. There were some other things I wanted to ask you, but they've gone. So if they come back, I'll ask you in a separate short video. Thanks for giving me your time. As always, leave any opinions and anything else in the comments. If you like the video, give us an up. If you hate the video, give us a down. And please check that you're still subscribed, because people are being unsubscribed. And as I said, I'm done with asking for donations, at least for the immediate future, or not asking for them, even taking them. I'm done with that for the immediate future. What I'm not done with, though, is asking you guys, please subscribe, please give us a like or dislike, because all of that is what helps us grow. All of that is what helps us do better. And on days like today, I need to do better, but it's what helps us. So please support us in those ways, and it'd be much appreciated. My name is Tom Fury. This is Zero News, and I am, ladies and gentlemen, calling it a day for now.